Good afternoon. How are you today? Well, I'm getting out a little late today because my Jack Russell Homer had his final day, and he's off, as some refer to it as the Heavenly Ridge. But it's interesting how uh, life is really about caring. It's about caring about these little doganalities and horses. It's about dealing and loving friends and family. And life really isn't worth very much if you're not connected in that way. And if you are, you can't help but hurt or grieve. And my dad died many years ago, and there's hardly a week in which I don't think about him, and the same with my mom and my younger brother. So this is part of life. It's a contact sport. It's not for amateurs. And if we take these values and apply them elsewhere in our life, for example, what kind of person sits on the Supreme Court and doesn't strain his legal muscle to find a way to take care of those people that are being thrown out of their houses? What kind of a person sits on the Supreme Court who isn't concerned about how hungry they'll be, the children they have, the education they won't be able to get? How many people think that won't also make the virus worse, because these people won't have a safe place to go and be more susceptible? It's all part of a piece. It's all part of the same thing. And we have a huge gap between people who have no business being in public life, who care not at all about their fellow or gal human beings. And the Supreme Court has 6 of them. And if you want a reason to be concerned about politics and people are going to impose punishment and pain and hurt on people, you've got to be concerned about who's in the Supreme Court. But if you go down to Florida, you look at the governor, DeSantis, and he thinks it's okay to take a tool away by mandate from the people who would wear masks to protect themselves. And the courts have said he's wrong. So there's a part of the court that's upholding common sense and safety. But there's a governor of a whole state who would do something like that. You know, we're long past the time when we should have decided to inoculate children under 12. And if they figure that out, we should be doing that. There's like no more important thing when we come to this pandemic than taking care of our own, so that we are all in it together and more of us are not getting sick and dying. Now, going back in history, I saw how they're closing they're closing the federal jail, the MCC, Metropolitan Correctional Center, in Lower Manhattan. And one of my class of cases while I was there were corruption cases, and among those were the corruption in that jail. There was an escapee who went through a wall with a spoon, and he dropped. He broke his leg when he fell, so we caught him easily. He had guards doing sexual favors, bringing in stuff, taking out stuff, taking mobsters out. It's just amazing. So I guess it's closed, but you know, you pay correction officers too little. You put them in with people with lots of funds and access to things, and people look the other way. It's like a Dickensian novel. It's too bad. Let's see, out on the West Coast, we have Sirhan and a bunch of morons are letting him released on parole. How many other people more deserving should be considered than this guy, Sirhan? And some say, oh, the family's okay. Well, what is the family going to say? They're trying to appear as fair and just and distant. My dad would come back from the grave and find a way to slap me in the face if I did something like that. He never, by the way, did slap me in the face, but I think this would merit an exception. So I don't know. You know, our values are upside down. If Sirhan is a guy who deserves to be released on parole, who isn't? Who isn't supposed to be released? And another thing that's troubling is in the Senate in Texas. Oh, they're going to go and they passed their crazy anti-fair election laws. And so that'll go on to the desk of, hey, Abbott, and we'll have more bad things happening. I'm not really doing well here, am I? These are pretty unpleasant things. But, you know, if you're interested in government and politics or law or almost anything in this world, the highest goal you can have is to solve the unsolvable, or at least try. To actually unravel the Gordian knot rather than break it. And every time we succeed in little and large ways, we make things better. And the question is, what is a civilization? And to me, the standard of a civilization is how we treat our own. And by that definition, the Republican Party has become uncivilized. And by that definition, some Democrats are too cowardly, fearing the worst aspects of our constituents, and are afraid that if they are civilized, they won't get reelected. Well, they shouldn't be reelected. We have to have a better clearinghouse for patriots, for people who care about the country than we have now. And voting is that answer. So if you're in any district where any representative of yours voted to limit the ability to vote, and if that person, your representative, is a lawyer, file a bar complaint. Say he's not upholding the Constitution. If you're a person of color, say he's compromising your right to be represented by fair votes. If you're not a person of color, same thing, that there's a candidate out there that is just who you want, and it's not happening because of unfair voting laws. So here I am in my cathedral of trees, and I hope you're having a good weekend, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.